Blog Talk Radio.
Good evening, everyone. We got us in the building. Jordana Raffia.
This is the God Rashad.
Chop it up with me a little bit. This is KROWN Knowledge Radio.
Those with sight can only see the light.
Power in the crown, in the crown, in the crown, in the crown. Welcome to KROWN Knowledge Radio. It is Thursday evening. This is Jordana Raffia, and you are listening to KROWN Knowledge Radio tonight in our Hidden and Dark Corners segment of the show. Definitely, this is going to be somewhat of a staple in the show at the moment. Pretty serious topic for me and for Brother Fred. We've been kind of going in and just trying to get a better understanding of what the hell, if that means anything to anybody. Shows will begin posting. We will be doing live postings on Facebook, on Instagram, and just getting kind of casting the net out a little bit for this particular segment, Hidden in Dark Corners. If you are listening to the show and you want to come online and chop it up with me a little bit about this subject, I suggest you go back and listen to Live Show 1 and Live Show 2. This is episode 3, even though it does not say that in my description. I'm not sure why I didn't put it in there, but we'll fix that. But this is the third live episode. I've done personal journaling on the topic, and I'm currently doing research on the topic as well. Hidden in Dark Corners. This is a subject about targeted individuals, and again, if you are not familiar, I'm going to be, the first few live shows is going to be just going into detail about what it is, why it is, who it is, what's going on, what is the purpose, why is this even a necessary evil in the world with all the other evil shit we got to deal with on a daily basis, if you will. Again, so let's not get it twisted. This is KROWN Knowledge Radio. We work from the Crown. You want to call in? 515-605-9858. Come on into the Crown. Press the number 1, and I will put you on the air. Respectfully, I will put you on the air. And we can talk about it. I'm expecting somebody from the KKR team to call in and get in on the subject with me. But as you guys know, I will rock on the show by myself. because that's what I do. KROWN is my obedience to the Most High God Creator is basically what it is. It is nothing more. It started that way. It's been a divine purpose for me at this particular point in my path, and so that's where we are with it. Hidden in Dark Corners. So tonight we're going to kind of tap in and look at pretty much just basically look at the outside packaging, because when we begin to unpack a lot of the detail and speak to some individuals later on during some of these segments into the new year, are trying to find out why. That's a big one, because a lot of people are saying, well, Dodonna, you may never get the why, but, this happens like this, and this is, sort of some of the things that I'm hearing, and this is what, may be going on. But I got a big revelation talking to an individual that was sort of just a mentor, and ended up being a good friend. And then when that person began telling me, hey, there might be something to this because this happened to me, or X, Y, Z. And then it's at that point you're like, oh, okay, one person. And again, as the brother Fred and myself said on the show, it's hit mainstream. I mean, there's nothing you can do about that when people are saying that you listen to the news, and some people say, don't listen to everything you hear on the news, or don't listen to everything you hear, online, social media. Social media just makes up stuff, and we get it. We get the disinformation part of it, but everybody can't be lying. Not everybody. So let's unpack it. Let's look at some of the things that we're going through. And again, I'm expecting, somebody from the KKR team to join me here shortly. So we'll be going in tonight on the technology side of targeting. And boy, when I tell the Most High God, I will only speak of that which I am experiencing in this human form that you've set me on a path for in this particular lifetime. And this just, it's almost right in itself. Like I don't understand, but at the same time, yes. Not only, just talking about the microwave weapons in some form of or another that are being used, but cyber stalking as well, and that particular type of technology that I can't make that up. I did not make up cyber stalking. I did not make up, cyber harassment. That's been something ever since social media has become a quote-unquote thing. Cyber stalking has been a part of it. And, of course, there's always people out there that are going to create ways or invent ways to take something that does not belong to them, or to do something to someone to make things difficult in life for usually the underserved, or the lesser individuals, or those who don't have a voice for themselves, or individuals who, they may think that, it might be a Robin Hood type thing, take from the rich and give to the poor. I've seen that too. Just for the sheer fact of, we're going to hijack your information and, hold it for ransom. That's weird. I've seen a lot of that, and I'm sure that, you guys are familiar with that. But to do it maliciously, viciously, in a way to bring about so much discord or disenfranchisement to an individual based on some type of vendetta, some type of vengeance, jealousy, envy, retaliation of some sort. And it falls under that whole umbrella of information that you could possibly do. How low can I go? I mean, if you really want to think about it that way, how low can I go to target someone's life and make life difficult for them, and sit back and say, that was, that's funny. Let's see if we can do this. But when the shit ultimately hits the fan, or the tables are turned, or the person in the mirror is now the target, that would be interesting. It'll be interesting how a narcissistic or sociopathic, or even a coward to some extent, takes that same energy, that same information, when it's boomerang. And so now you're the target. And so you have to, even though nobody that I know outside of maybe pedophiles that think that they're really not doing anything wrong, and then they get caught and they're concerned about going to prison or possibly dying or getting the death penalty. But you didn't think about that when a young child's life was in your hand and you had an opportunity to make a decision not to do what you did. It's just one of those things. And so technology comes into play with all of that. One of the things that I found recently, because I operate again, and you'll hear me say that in the last show, I operate as though everything in my life is hacked. Everything, from the kitchen stove to the microwave, not to mention my laptop and my phone and anything else electronic I have in the house. Everything is a target when it comes to technology. And so, in this particular subject and how it relates to technology, it comes to, we talked about the weapon, and I think that's where we left off in the last show. The brother Fred and myself we were actually talking about the electronic pulse device or microwave device or whatever you want to call it that's being used by these individuals somewhat as I guess it's their tool. It's that thing that they can just push the envelope just a little bit further by using this particular type of electronics. And if you look up electromagnetic pulse weaponry targeted at private citizens, sonic wave technology that's used for crowd dispersement, if you look up pulse device weapons used on individuals, sometimes whistleblowers, if you will, that's got a whole political and military connotation that I don't even want to get into that side of it because I'm not connected to that side of it, at least not to my knowledge. I'm not connected to that. So being able to use a particular type of technology to aid in the assistance of breaking down an individual more or less, or just scaring them into thinking that, oh my God, I have a physical ailment. Something is wrong with me. I feel this buzzing or this stinging or this tingling or this pulsing or this otherwise poking that's going on in my body and I can't explain it. So most people will go to a physician and say, look, there's something going on. Or they'll go to somebody and say, hey, I have this particular issue and I don't know what it is. It feels like somebody's jabbing me or poking me or sticking me or thumping me or whatever the case might be. It's a technological device that in the military was developed on a certain level, and whatever that level is, you can Google it anywhere, online USA, for deterrent, agitation, and dispersement. Deter to keep you from doing a certain thing or moving forward with something. And that's right on point with what I'm talking about this evening. Disbursement means to disperse energy in a way. And again, this particular technology, where it relates to gang stalking and targeting individuals, will pretty much make it like we want to make you feel like there's nothing you want to do. Like I've felt this enough to where I feel this way. My mood is like this. I feel a certain way, so I don't want to. As it relates as far as my spiritual downloads, it makes you want to feel like you don't want to do the thing that you love the most. You want to get off your divine path. You want to not do the thing and be obedient to what the Most High God told you to do. That's a lot, Donna. That's like mixing spirituality and the technology. But one of these, it's like good and evil. Again, there's duality in everything. It's like good and evil. So where the technology could be used to help someone or help to deter, let's just say, a person in the neighborhood that may have a particular fetish for children. It could help in that way. It could help keep the people that maybe wear ankle monitors for whatever reason and deter them from doing something to not break their parole. It could there's some good, everything on this planet that God allows, that the Most High God Creator allows, could be used for something good. It could be. Let's keep the baby botherers in a certain area. Let's keep them away from our children. Let's keep let's try to monitor and track the individuals that target the schools. Let's try to keep the people that we know that are prone to do certain things in certain areas. Maybe. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not saying this has been done. Maybe it has, maybe it hasn't. But to create something that is attached to a technology that will target individuals simply because you got your feelings hurt by someone or somebody on your job you don't like because maybe they went over your head and did something and now you're feeling a certain kind of way about it, you want to retaliate. Or you have a next door neighbor that you want to move. I want them to move out of the neighborhood. Like I said, unless it's a baby botherer, for what? And again, I'm not going to go, into a lot of the why, because a lot of this stuff that I'm talking about as it relates to this particular gang stalking and gang stalking agencies and groups that are created to retaliate or some vendetta or jealousy or envy, because it makes no sense. I am not the only person that this is happening to. I was surprised. I was completely surprised to even find out. We mentioned in the first live episode about the Havana syndrome. I can't make it up. And the date that it happened, and this particular woman had been telling people repeatedly what was going on. And this was one of the individuals that actually ended up on 60 Minutes, if you know what 60 Minutes is. And she has actually ended up on a news show and indicated, until she realized every time she felt this thing go off in her body, there was someone standing, sitting in a vehicle, or riding past, or sitting on some type of a vehicle or bicycle or in a car, or just having to be standing outside her home. Coincidence? Maybe. I don't know. But she did end up being damaged by whatever weapon that was being used, but she still had her sense and sensibility to say, hey, something is going on here. And then fast forward, another individual, and they just happened to be in that same area where this particular technology was going off, and they were reporting it. And some scientists and physiologists have the brains and the brilliance to try to put two and two together and say, hey, these people are being electronically attacked. Who knew? Who even thought this was a thing? Like, who does that? Who targets individuals with sonic waves? And I get, crowd dispersement. I get it. I get that you could be somewhere where a crowd gets, it goes from a level 2 to a level 10, and you want to bring it back down to about a 3 or 2 before anyone gets hurt. I get that. And like I said, most of the things that the Most High God creates and allows, because the Most High God is not going to allow anything if there's not a lesson in it. And I get it. I do. At the end of the day, we all have a path. Some people's paths are, a little bit more advanced than others. Some people's paths are a little bit lower than others. Some people out there, they're really not sure what their path is, but you will know it if you are out of alignment. I'll get to that in a minute. So I'm jumping right into it because, again, I've given a little bit of a description on what some of these devices are, what they are made for, what a lot of the ones that were first created for military purposes are now available in the regular, everyday, residential, pedestrian, human streets. That is so weird. Well, it's not as weird as, AR, weapons being available in the streets, and, young individuals getting a hold of them and, doing damage in schools. Yeah, I think it's the same thing. It's maybe on a different level, but that's up there. But I think it's the same thing. Again, we look like we're not funny at all, but it looks like we're back in that season of, is it safe for your child to go to school? Really? Is it safe to go to a open market, a concert? Because we don't know where these particular type of weapons will end up and whose hands they're in. Who's using these? So back to the EMP as it relates to the gang stalkers and the stalking individuals and being targeted. I've actually had a chance to see up close and personal individuals involve their children again. And my brother, the brother Fred and myself, we talked about people even using their children for these targeted escapades, adventures, events, or whatever they might be, and using their children to initiate some of this groundwork, if you will. Very strange. So, in addition to the harassment, the sabotage, the slander, even the technologies in themselves can be used for that particular type of exercise, if you will. Campaign. There's the noise stalking campaign. There's the agitation campaign. There's the schmear. Some people say smear or schmear. I don't know. I think schmear is cream cheese on a bagel, I think. But smear is slander. And the disinformation campaign. And we'll get into that a little later in a couple of the live show episodes of how the smear campaigns infiltrates your circle of family and friends. It's very interesting. And like I said, I've touched on a little bit of that in each live book, but to do a detailed, just an in-depth look on what that looks like, and that we might be able to get a few whys out of. And that's very interesting. That one, I think I'm going to get individuals online with me that can speak more about how that actually happens. Again, we're not looking so much as for the whys, because the why is, I don't even know that the why matters when you're, depending on what side of the fence you're on. It really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me, of course. Do I ever think I'll get a why? No. But I'm being obedient to the Most High God in what I need to translate to other people who may be going through this particular very strange type of event in their life. So yeah, disinformation, slander, harassment, sabotage, and these are things that can be done technology-wise. Now, the weapon is one thing, but your personal information is something different. And I just recently fell victim to that. Well, a family member of mine did. I just happened to be in association and in authority to look at that information, and had something stolen from them based on how my information sits in your computer, in your phone, and how you gain access to certain things like online and online shopping and your banking information. And if you are in a stalking situation and you have individuals in the front of you, they're hiding in plain sight. So they're in front of you, they're next door to you, they're in back of you, there are trucks, there are utilities. Of course, there are listening devices, cameras, and so on and so forth. And so you may ask yourself, but who's going through all of this? Like, who's going through all of this trouble just for retaliation? Well, again, you'll hear me mention narcissists and sociopathic individuals, mentally diminished individuals that have the means, the wherewithal, and the time, the resources, the manpower to do this. Could this be something that would be lucrative for someone to do if they wanted to be involved or collaborate with or associate themselves with something like this? Absolutely. Absolutely. Without a doubt. And again, the very next question you want to ask is why? We'll save the whys for later. But yes, it is possible. It is possible for someone to want to get revenge. And that's even a nasty word to say. But someone to want to have the taste of revenge, not just in their mouth, but in their very, like, I want to get back at this person so bad that I am willing to pay money for anybody. This could be anybody. So we can't say it's never happened before, right? So we have videotapes of, you can Google any YouTube video download, surveillance camera, USA or across the country, taping someone getting caught trying to hire someone to get harmed because either they want money, they want revenge, they want notoriety, they want to do it for clout, they want to, poke their chest out, they want bragging rights, I guess that's the same as clout, whatever reason someone would want to do this. So the why, we can't really pinpoint or pin down. And before I go any further, what's up, Brother Fred? Is that you in the room?
Yes, ma'am. What's going on?
What's going on? Yeah, we are back. It is Thursday, and we're back in hidden in dark corners. We're trying to clean out the dark corners, at least the dirty corners. we want to get those cleaned out. But yeah, I'm going in right now on. I'm specifically talking about technology tonight, and I was given a little bit of background on what the technology is. And it's amazing all of the stuff that I had researched about 5-6 years ago, how it's flooding back a lot of, what the electronic pulse device were made for. It was originally supposed to be a military device, but I don't know if you remember the situation that happened in, I want to say it was either Baton Rouge where they had the riot, and the people started complaining of something popping their eardrums. Do you remember anything like that? First of all, do you remember the riot in Baton Rouge? I think it was before George Floyd, but it was something about, this was before Black Lives Matter even, I do believe. But it was another police shooting of some sort, and I want to say it was Baton Rouge was up in arms. They were out in the streets. Do you remember?
I think I remember, because I'm trying to remember if I recall the situation, if I'm talking about the same situation, because I want to say that it was a young brother standing out. He was at a liquor store or something like that, and I think the police ended up murdering him. Pretty much it was for no reason. And I remember hearing down there in Baton Rouge, because I'm from Louisiana too, and I remember hearing about that guy. If this is the same situation that they're writing about,
I believe
he's supposed
so.
to be like an innocent guy, and they end up killing him. The Baton Rouge police, whatever, end up killing him or something like that. And Baton Rouge people were upset, and I think that's what it was, because it was way before Black Lives Matter. It's probably like a good 7-8 years before that even popped off.
Yeah.
It's the same situation.
This was way before George Floyd, way before Black Lives Matter. So when you get a chance, look up Baton Rouge rioters complain of earaches. I believe it was earaches or eardrums are being, having ringing in their ears after the riot in the street. And they found out later that the weapon that was used on them, among other things, but the weapon that was used to slow the crowd down, so what it was used to do was to batten them down or back them off or back them up or slow them down. And they described it as some type of a sonic microwave weapon or an electronic pulse weapon.
That sounds like a military weapon. It sounds like a military weapon. And at the same time, it's a hell of a coincidence that all them people was having the same effect at the same time.
At that same time, correct. Yeah. So like I said, I even on my worst day, I wouldn't, first of all, make shit up like that. But on my best day, I couldn't make that up. So when you look at the targeting situation and the gang stalking situation and this weapon, because I wish the God Rashad was on the air with me, because he really wanted to get more information. It's so weird. He's really beginning to experience. Let's just say, I'll let him tell his whole story, but just without telling his story himself, because I want to hear it from him out of his own mouth. He's really beginning to experience some very strange things. It's so fucking weird. And I'm like, dude, he was like, yeah, I need you to tell me some more about that. So I'll have him go back and listen to this show as well. But yeah, so moving forward, this went down in Baton Rouge, and I know I've heard of other places. I know New York was another place, and a long time ago. I'm thinking, I'm just going to take a stab in the dark, and I think it was like maybe 2006. Or 2007 in New York. This was way before I moved to New York. They talked about one of the New York riots or something. Yeah, I could get Watts in New York mixed up, but it was either the Watts riot or it was the New York riot. Watts is in California, I believe. So it was one of the two, or maybe both. I don't know. But that particular, and they said immediately after, people started complaining of migraines and ringing in their ear and stuff like that. So it was very interesting. And when we were on the last episode of Hidden in Dark Corners, our last show, Brother Fred, I was telling you about what happened to my brother and how, I knew what they were doing. And again, it choked me up a little bit because you feel helpless. So, and why somebody would think that was funny or entertaining, I don't know. That in itself is just creepy. But at the same time, you get what I wanted to tell you was a situation that happened with my niece. And I believe I mentioned this on another show. I don't think you were on the air with me, but it wasn't too long ago. And I was talking about, this particular day, maybe about 4 or 5, I want to say, I've been here now for about 6 years, so maybe about 4 or 5 years ago. But we were sitting in the garage at my sister's house, and long story short, there was like a wave that came across the air, like a wave that, sometimes if you feel like you're losing your balance a little bit. Yeah. And it feels like, it's going to, like if I was standing up, I probably would have like vertigo almost. You got this little thing going on, but if you were standing up, you would probably feel like you're going to fall a little bit. But it was a whoosh, like a whoosh of wave that came over the garage, and nobody was out there but me and my niece. And I looked at her, and she looked at me, and she said, "What was that?" So that was confirmation, because I didn't open my mouth. I just looked at her like, okay, maybe I'm the only one that felt that. And she looked directly at me, and she said, "What was that?" And I'm like, "I don't know." She said, "Did you feel that?" I said, "Yeah, I felt it." So I can't make this up. So now what it was at that particular moment, I don't know. It could have been the beginning stages. It could have been, testing it out, because they've been testing this weapon out on me now for years. years and years and years. It's been a, let's try this, let's try that, let's turn up the volume, let's switch weapons, let's use a different angle, let's try this, try this part of the body, let's try it on this part of her body, let's do this, let's do the bottom of her feet, let's do the top of her head, let's do her back, let's do her butt, let's try the private parts and see if that'll work. I mean, they just been like throwing the spaghetti on the wall. And I'm like, wow. But the Most High Creator says, no, there's nothing I can do about that. There's nothing, my instructions is to be still. Because there's really nothing you can do other than what we're doing now is offering up this information for individuals who might be going through this. And they're outside right now. Just so you know, I always let y'all know when they're out there. So they're out there now. They've been out there all day. But they're out there now. So because they like to listen to the show, and then remember, they like to shut the show down too. So if we all of a sudden go off the air, I'm just letting you know. So these particular weapons, and I explained, what they were made for the military. But now, fast forward, I do remember that story. That it was a weapon probably on a larger scale, but now they've become readily available to the public. What are we doing? What are we doing? So now they're readily available. I have seen these people put this weapon in their children's hand, like a video game, because now we have video children, correct? So what they see, right, so the video games desensitize them. So that if they, I think that some children, because most children born after 2012, 2011 or 2012 are empathic to a degree. Some of them, not all of them, but some of them are crystal children. So they are empathic. And if they knew that if I touch this button, that's going to make Auntie scream. Unless they're narcissistic children, they wouldn't do it. But if you're playing Fortnite or Grand Theft Auto, or whatever, video games that are out there now that the children are playing, why would you care?
Right.
Especially if an adult told you it's okay, just go ahead and press that right there. And just keep pressing it. Just keep doing it. It's okay. Well, what am I doing? It's okay. You're not doing anything. Just keep doing it. So I've seen this particular device in the hands of young people, if you will, outside my home. I mean, looking directly at them. I'm like, wow, they put this in the hands of children. For real? Because it makes it look, because at first I'm opening up my door at 5 o'clock in the morning. It's a weird adult standing outside my house with a device in their hand. Is it a cell phone? Is it not a cell phone? Because you can make a cell phone look like anything. A cell phone could be a whole microwave, and you never know it. It's a whole holographic projection device, and you not know it.
They got technology for it.
They absolutely got the technology for it. They have cloaking technology out there now that, people say, yeah, you know what, I saw that online. I said, no, so it ain't just online. That's real. That's the Japanese and the Chinese. It's real.
Yeah. You seen it in the older movie, maybe an older sci-fi movie back in the day. You just forgot.
Absolutely. And they tell you present day, fast forward, they'll tell you in the movies once. They'll show it. They show the guy that could make himself look like it was a parody movie, but he could make himself look like any background. That is scary as hell, because I'm looking at the background, and if you look hard enough, you'll be like, okay, there he is right there. But you have to look real quick. You have to focus your eyes in to see where this dude is, and then he'll step out of the scene, and he looks exactly like the background. Like, that is so weird. Yeah. So now we're sneaking up on motherfuckers. Like, yeah, that part. But
they got the invisible claw.
Correct.
You seen that?
Yeah, it's a cloaking. Yeah, it's a cloaking claw.
Yeah,
of course, absolutely. But yeah, so this is what, this particular device, and so I just gave a little bit of background of what it was and what it had transpired into, what it could be used for. And like I said, if you have certain shady, I call them baby botherers, you can call them, pedophiles, but the baby botherers in the area, to keep certain people away from the schools, that would be a good use of that. The people that wear ankle monitors that have to be within a certain, and you don't want them, and they happen to be at a place where they are not supposed to be around children, or they're not supposed to be around, drug dealers or drug take users, or, so use the device for that, or, to keep certain people in an area. And again, what I've read in my limited and very limited, because this stuff is wide open now, but it's hit mainstream, but my very limited research, I haven't even scratched the surface. They use it to get people to move out of certain areas and certain houses so that real estate brokers can sell them to other people. So if you have a client that says, oh, I really want to buy that house. Well, well, my commission is this. Are you willing to pay that? Okay, I can find a way to get them out of that house. They'll move. So one of the first stories that I read when I just happened to run across this technology targeting situation was the Havana syndrome, and I just reminded the audience of that earlier today. But if you go back and listen to the very first episode you and I did, Hidden in Dark Corners, I talk about the Havana syndrome and the year that it happened and what happened to those people. But it was weird. I read a story that said, really quickly, this guy and his wife. And you can probably get it in that link that I sent you to, Fred. Do you still have that link that I sent you? If not, I can send it to you again.
Which one was it?
It was the link about targeting. It had the stories in there, and it was more than, I think it was more than one, but there's more than one story. I mean, but there should have been one.
I believe I do.
I have it because I have a lot of them saved. So if not, I'll send it to you again. But it was about a man and his wife. He knew he was being targeted, and he had known for years. I think he had been stalked for like 9-10 years. And he said, he tried moving. He went to another state. They followed him there. And so this particular area that he moved in, he kind of felt like, okay, we're just going to stay in this area. This is what it is. He had an incident where he went to the Department of Justice, and then he was, talking to other people about, some things that were happening. Well, fast forward, a real estate broker came to his house, and he knew that this real estate broker was interested in the house, and him and his wife, I do believe he mentioned that he had a wife and they lived in this house, and he said, they weren't interested in selling. He thought they had just got settled down and everything was okay. Fast forward, he said about 3 or 4 months in, he started, seeing red rays come through the window. That I can actually attest to, because at my cousin's house, and this is here, where we were looking for someone to live, me and my mother, we stayed at my cousin's house, and where her office is, I was using her computer, and the sun was coming through the window. I could see the ray coming through I just happened to catch it. Like, how you turn and you happen to catch a rainbow coming through the window?
Yeah.
Just at a glance here, and I stopped just to make sure it wasn't a fluke, and it was pointed directly at me. I'm sitting in a chair at a computer. The window was kind of up. If I'm sitting down, the window was probably at my head. And I just kind of looked over at the window, and I could see the ray coming through the window. And I'm like, that, if I didn't think I was crazy, I would swear that was it looked like an infrared ray coming right through the window. The sun just happened to catch it. So this particular gentleman, he said he knew that there was something being done, that things were being, pointed through the window. He could feel it. His wife could feel it. They would be targeted in their sleep. They could feel, stinging and tingling and burning and a lot of other stuff, in their sleep and during the day when they would be up. So he he tried putting blockers on the window and some other stuff that I actually have called Faraday cloth. I actually have that. and certain other things to block certain electromagnetic waves and microwaves. This sounds like sci-fi. And let me just make a statement right here, Brother Fred. This is shit that I should not know. I'm not even the least bit, I'm not a technological person. I am not a scientist, nigga. I'm not I'm like a closet geek because I read a lot. So I'm one of those closeted geeks. Like I will talk about what I talk about when I know it's serious. If I know.
You're not one of them war games type person.
Nah, I don't sit up and play, I was going to say Dungeons and Dragons. That's not the one I was looking for, but Game of Thrones. That's what I was looking for. Yeah, I'm not a gamer. I don't do none of that. That is not my lane.
Computer shit.
Yeah, that's what I said. But this particular information is just, it's weird. It's interesting. It's confusing. And it's sad and disheartening all at the same time. They're stinging me in my foot right now just to let me know that they're listening to the show. But it's weird. It's like, can't you just ask the people, look, we'll give you, this amount of money for your house if you, or just find another house. Like, just find another house. Like, I don't get it.
What is so special about specific houses, like a specific location? Is it gold up under there that you know about and you're trying to tell, or oil or something? Like,
yeah, that part. And the crazy thing is, the house that I'm in was empty for, as far as my knowledge, ever since my sister, like she could tell you who moved in and out of this house on a regular, and the house was never remodeled until I moved in it, me and my mother at the time that she was living. So prior to us being in this house, the house was empty. And my sister was kind of nervous because people would come, I guess they would come to the house for drug deals and XYZ. And, I don't know the whole story because I wasn't living here at the time. But the house stayed empty for a while. And it was kind of, maybe they should board the house up. I think at one point, the property owner now said, they did want to sell the house. And then fast forward, me and my mother came here, and they just happened to be working on the house at the time. He was working on it to sell it. But he loved my mother, fell in love with her, and, he was like, okay, for you and your mom, I'll let you guys move in the house. So we ended up moving in the house, which, had I known, I don't know if it would have changed anything or not, because we were just looking for somewhere safe to live. That's pretty much it. But this particular man, back to that story, he said eventually they did move. And he was like, well, maybe if we move, they'll just, leave it alone. And I believe that this particular man did, I believe, as far as his story goes, he was a whistleblower for a particular company that could have possibly been military connected. I'll have to go back and read the story. But I believe he was somehow politically or militarily connected, and he was a whistleblower. So I get it. That stuff, that type of cloak and dagger stuff is going on for decades, generations and generations, like decades and decades. But now, fast forward 2024, we're doing it for shits and giggles.
Yep.
And a little bit of money on the side. This is your part-time job. Like, we do this because why now? Because somebody got their feelings hurt, so we gonna we're gonna send a whole fucking gang because somebody got their feelings hurt.
Yep.
Yeah, I try not to make it make sense. But
and it's not just about the house. It's about the person in the house.
No, in my case, I know absolutely it's not about the house. It is not. But they have targeted, trying to buy the house from the property owner. I think with the hopes of that if he sells the house, I'll get put out. I do believe that's the only reason why I think. Because I don't think anybody wants this house. This house is not like the other houses on the block. It should be the least expensive house on the block, I believe, probably on the street. But I haven't done that type of research. But no, it's definitely not about the house. It's more about making me homeless. That would be the end game there. And so I wanted to start with that one because I know I may mention it again, and depending on what we'll be talking about going forward, I want to get to at some of the episodes that I was talking about earlier before you logged on, Brother Fred, was how they get family members and friends to infiltrate, learning who your enemies are to try to get your enemies to get closer to you. So that'll be another show. And other tactics used to disorientate or otherwise disrupt your life. And that list is long. But harassment, sabotage, slander, disinformation. Disinformation is a whole another campaign that's having this. So this is it's a whole situation because why? And I know I keep asking the question why, and you're never going to get a why because the reasoning wouldn't make it make sense anyway. Well, it's jealousy, but that doesn't make sense. Well, it's envy. Well, that doesn't make sense. Well, in my case, it's money. That really doesn't make sense because I don't have it. That does not make sense. Well, it's for bragging rights. Bragging about what? I would have to know who you are in order for that to work, and you would have to know. I would have to have some type of celebrity for that to even make sense.
You have to have something to brag about.
Correct. You would actually have to have something to brag about. So a lot of it does not, but we'll get into that and, the disinformation, disruption, disinformation, the harassment and otherwise mangling to be able to muddy the water enough. Again, the end game is to paint a narrative, and the narrative has to make sense based on, so people say, well, why stalking you for so long? Because the disinformation has to make sense. The slander has to make sense. It has to make sense. Say, yeah, you were right. She goes into that same crack house every night, like clockwork, or yep, she sneaks in that same hotel with that same nigga. Like it might be a different hotel, but it's definitely that same nigga. Yep, he's doing that same shit. He's going and selling them same drugs, or he's doing that same shit that he's going around the same person. It has to make sense. You have to paint a narrative, and the only way to do that is an extended time. It has to make sense. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying. Demonic monetary spirits. Like you say, you create the slander, and at the same time, they follow pursuit with the slander. They make sure that the slander is being, prophesized or whatever.
Correct. Yeah.
And if it's not, they'll start rumors, of course.
Oh yeah, definitely. And that's why I said that'll be a whole nother show because it's interesting the way that they infiltrated my family of course, based on slander and disinformation. So it's like it's the equivalent of me, like I said, behind Joe. So just say I've known you for like some years, in which I have not. But just to say I've known you for some years, and all I've known is me and you've been on the radio. I haven't seen you. I don't know where you work. I don't know where you live. I don't know anything about you. And I get on here and say, yeah, y'all know, Brother Fred is known for robbing banks. And I use the same situation with my nephews. Like, if you walk up to my nephew and say, your aunt got an OnlyFans, and she making money by busting it wide and dropping it low. Like, when my aunt, like, are you sure are you sure we talking about the same person? Yeah, we got her selling sex online. Like, oh, you gotta make it make sense. First of all, she ain't got that kind of time. And dude, most of the time, yeah, I'm not even camera ready. I'm not. You gotta be camera ready to do stuff like that. Like, most of the time, I am in my sweats.
You be like, prove it then.
Right, yeah, that part, and again, that's the main point right there. Most people will not even ask, okay, how do you know this? Well, can you prove it? Can you prove that? So if they can't prove it, so that's where the stuff like technology, and I was just about to get to cyber stalking, and stealing your information, hacking your devices, hacking your computer, your cell phone, playing with personal records and personal information is bordering on identity theft. It's basically. So they can be able to say, well, yeah, see, this happened like that, because it's weird. When my brother's food stamps ended up missing, the first thing my nephew said, well, who has his card? But see, they don't understand technology. They are not technological people. So it's interesting because in that instance, I get it. My nephew doesn't know anything about computers. He doesn't even get on a computer other than maybe to, watch one of his, female friends do something on there. Hey, can you look this up on the computer for me? So they're not technological people. You understand what I'm saying? So losing food stamps, let's just say, off of a card is not going to make sense to them. They think that you actually have to have the card in order for somebody to steal them, and that's not true. But they don't understand that.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Right. Go ahead.
Yeah, because sometimes people they don't pay attention to certain patterns.
Correct.
But they just pretty much focus on the same old, and it's like when something different happens, and they don't notice it, and they keep on happening, and they just figure that, they figure the obvious instead of going like, wait a minute, could this actually be going on? A question like this never enters their mind because they're so focused on like the main thing. Just figure like, oh, okay, somebody got this card, somebody doing this with it, doing that with it. But
right.
If somebody has your information, they don't have to have that card.
Correct. That is absolutely true. So someone that is not as quote unquote tech savvy as another person, you know what I'm saying? Then they'll, so the narrative may, in their mind, now somebody else that, I would talk to that is tech savvy or maybe even knows, I just talked to my niece. She's one of those people. She's business minded. She's got a good head on her shoulder. She's a businesswoman. As a matter of fact, she's a manager and a supervisor. She's a young person, but she's tech savvy. She gets it. She understands. She was like, and the first words out now these are two different dynamics of a niece and a nephew in the same family with two different points of view. The first words out of her mouth was, Auntie, I think I read an article about how they're cleaning out the accounts for benefits for such and such and so and so. She actually quoted an article that I did see because I had to, because I was going through this whole fraud thing to get to recover what had been stolen. So I had to see, and I was like, wow, there's a whole article out here of, this happening to people like in 2021, 2022, and 2023. Like, okay, somebody out here just stealing people's phones. It's like, it's weird. And she told me, she said, I think I just saw an article where something, they were saying, you got to be careful. So now they got this new privacy procedure in place that you can use that I wasn't aware of. But, now I can utilize that to try at least, because, they'll find a way around anything. If they really, really want to cause problems for you, anybody can find a way around anything. You understand what I'm saying? Especially if you're using that type of technology. If you're sitting out there using an electronic pulse device on me just to stalk me, you can get around my laptop. I mean, damn. You know what I'm saying? So I operate that way. And like my friend of mine was saying, well, if you ain't did shit, why would you care? Exactly. So, and like I said, if you've never seen the movie with Will Smith and Regina King, Enemy of the State.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That was the response. She was like, do you see this? She said, so you don't care about your whole, your right to privacy being taken away from you? He said, I don't plan on being a terrorist. And I was like, you know what? You got a valid point. Why the fuck would I care? I'm an attorney. I ain't committing no crimes. I'm trying to keep people from committing crimes. Like, so I'm like, yeah. I said, okay, I get it. I get what you're saying. Yeah. He was like, why should I care? He said, they gonna get it one way or another. Why would I care? If anybody's looking at my stuff, so they had to create the narrative. And they put out pictures of him with the girl that played that particular character was the girl that played on The Cosby Show, Lisa Bonet, her character. So they planted pictures of him and her in the newspaper, but they had enough on him to dig up the fact that he had an affair with her back in the day, a while back in the day. So they put that in the newspaper and made sure his wife saw it. So now they've already planted the seed in his wife's head. Like, you told me you weren't seeing her anymore. He said, baby, I don't know what's going on. I don't know. So he's confused. So the Enemy of the State is pretty much, we're gonna show you what we can do, and come find out the man had no clue what was going on that whole time. That whole time he didn't know there was somebody in the background sabotaging his life because they thought that he was part of a darker group, if you will, but he wasn't. So that particular type of information, but it all had to do with the dark web. But it was just interesting. And again, I wanted to come on and just talk about that particular side of the being individually targeted, not just by a weapon physically on your body. And that was another thing I was going to ask you if you had come on. Have you ever fallen under that type of attack during your experience? No, just a bunch of just regular, like I said, regular usual gang stalking, street theater, gaslighting, just the regular average stuff, not Not technology, yeah. Got it. Yeah, none technical, just, with the phone, people knowing your number and pretty much following your patterns, your daily patterns and stuff like that. Like, the times you go to work and times you get off, the days you all work and the days you off work, stuff like that. But nothing, not too extreme. Right. I get a bunch of spam calls where I hadn't gotten them before. So it's funny, when my phone is close to me, I don't get spam calls. They don't come through. But when I plug my phone up to charge and go in the kitchen and start cooking, the spam calls come in so I can walk away from the stove. Or if I forget to take the phone into the shower with me, I don't know why anybody would think that I would jump out of the shower to answer my phone. I'm not going now. If I find out later it was an emergency, it was an emergency. I was in the shower. But I usually try to, and just the fact that we got to walk around with our phone in our hand all day. I'm not that person. I don't walk around with my phone in my hand all day. I don't. People think that's weird. You don't. No. Why would I have to do that? I'm not a doctor. I am not on call. If I see that it's not my brother or one of my sisters or my niece, then I walk away from the phone. But a lot of people cannot walk away from their phone. That in itself is weird. The hypnotizing effect that technology has on humans. That's weird. You said what?
Right. Having that old school mentality, before the life of cell phones, you know what I mean, and stuff like that.
Yeah, like Rashawn said, motherfucker, if I ain't at home, I just ain't at home. See me when I'll answer the phone when I get home. But yeah.
If it is an emergency, it's understandable. But other than that, you'll be all right.
You'll be all right. Eventually
y'all gonna talk. Eventually you're gonna talk.
Yeah, eventually we're going to talk, and it's sort of like I said, if I look at the phone and I see, my niece's name, or, it used to be my mom, but, she's passed on. But if I see, the main names, and I know, okay, if this person is calling me, I know it ain't no bullshit. And even if their name isn't in my phone, I can tell what numbers that are calling that I need to answer, pretty much. If I don't recognize the number, okay, and then you don't leave a message, then it was some bullshit. I mean, it is what it is. So yeah, but that whole technology, it's weird. It's I've seen the articles and the online YouTubes about technology making humanity more stupid. I think in a lot of ways that's correct. There's a comedian out now that I absolutely love. I was just watching him before I came on the show, Ali Sadiq. And he said, y'all might let them phones make y'all stupid. He said, but I got 84 phone numbers memorized in my head. I was like, dude, I used to be that person. I used to be the person that could rattle off everybody's phone number. Now I cannot. And that is just, it hurts me so bad. It's a few. I have a few phone numbers that I have memorized, but yeah, that makes me so mad because I used to say, hey, what's so-and-so's phone number? Yeah, it's 512-618. Remember you used to be able to do that?
Yep.
Yeah, we can't do that shit no more. That is just, I think that's weird. That is just strange. Like technology can come along and just wipe your whole. That is weird. That's very strange to me. I don't know, but and the fact that. No, go ahead.
It's part of the plan to make us mentally lazy, and when you're mentally lazy, it turns to physical laziness.
Correct.
You know what I mean? That was part of the plan with the advancement of technology. You know what I mean? Right. Because if you go back to the time we built pyramids, we had supreme thinking without technology. We had technology from the universe.
Correct. That we basically operated by telepathy, nigga, not technology. We we have to actually and I try to do that more so now. So like I said, most of the time when my phone is ringing, I don't know, I can't explain it, but I know when it's spam, and I know when it's a family member, or I know when it's something important. Even I don't have to look at the phone. It's weird, that part. Yeah, it's very strange. And right now I'm batting 1,000. I'm like, yeah, let me go grab the phone because this is so-and-so. Or sometimes if I'm in there walking around, I walk around the house anyway just to walk around. I don't like sitting all day because I'm in the house. I'm working in the house. I'm on my computer in the house. I'm on the show in the house. So I'll just be walking around and I'll look at the phone and I'm like, okay, it's that, they doing that. That's their thing. But it's, it's spam nonetheless. But sometimes if I'm in the shower, I'm in the bathroom, I'm just taking my time. I might have be dressed already, and the phone's ringing. I'm not going to run out of the bathroom and run to the phone. I'm not one of those people. I don't cry when I can't find my phone. I don't panic. Oh my God, my phone is missing. I don't panic because I'm like, Okay, it's got to be in my purse, so I left it outside. I don't know. And like I said, I want to see if they brought back house phones to me, I would be okay with it, dude. I would be completely okay. I think a lot of people would commit suicide, but I think if they brought back the house phone, I would be so good with that. I would be okay. I really would. You know what?
And you know what? A lot of people would probably commit suicide because I remember when I was living in Shreveport. Back maybe probably like 2011 and 10 or something like that, and I was doing something and I just happened to see it on TV. It was one of the popular TV stations, and they were talking about how people react when they lose their cell phone, and this is back in 2011, 2010, something like that. And these people, they would just lose their mind. They
lost it.
They were talking about what was going on there. They were like, oh my God, I started sweating. I was almost about to have a panic attack. And all
they were having a panic attack. They did. It was a black girl. They were interviewing her, and she's some kind of influence. Pretty young black girl. She was probably 20. But she was on the whole time they were interviewing her. It was weird. The dude was really interviewing people about their cell phones. And he said, now the part that I didn't tell you about this interview is we have to take your phone from you. So the whole time he was talking to her, she was saying who she was, what her name was, what she did on, TikTok, Instagram, and I'm an influencer, and I got so many, and I have, so far I have 50,000 followers, and so on and so forth. She's just talking. She is happy. She's smiling. She's looking pretty, but she's looking at her phone. She is not looking at the interviewer. It's so weird. She's talking and texting and scrolling through her Instagram and all this, while during this was the first 10 minutes of the interview. The interview was about 15, 20 minutes. He said, for the next 15 minutes, we have to take your phone. And she looked at him like, we're about to go to your house and kill your family. She looked at this dude. The look on her face was like, no, you're not about to take my phone. You can take my life, but you can't take my phone. It was so weird. 15 minutes, they took this girl's phone. She, like the comedian says, she instantly turned into a crackhead. I'm sitting here watching this girl slowly deteriorate. She didn't look the same. Her face looked weird. Because like I said, she's a cute black girl, dark-skinned black girl, pretty. She had her makeup, she had her hair done nice. But she turned completely ugly. When this man took her phone, she put both her hands between her legs. She was squeezing her legs real tight, and she started rocking back and forth. And she kept looking at the lady that had her phone. The woman didn't hide the phone. She didn't put it away. She was just standing there regular with the girl's phone and the clipboard, and they were just standing there. I knew it was all set up because the woman just stood there. And she kept looking at the woman, and the woman never looked down at the phone. She kept looking at the two people interviewing, the guy and the young black girl. He said, so tell me more about how influencing. And she couldn't put words together. She had long pauses and silences. She was looking off in the distance. I was like, this girl is having a complete meltdown. She had a complete meltdown. Do you hear me? I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't saw it with my own two eyes. I'm like, she's having a panic attack.
And it wasn't no acting, and then this was real life.
No, this was real. Because she was really trying. He did it. It wasn't just her. I think he went to 3 or 4 different people, random people. He said, I'm interviewing influencers, and and I'm trying to find out, what you like about Instagram and TikTok, and what you like about, your Facebook and your followers, and so on and so forth. He said for the last, and he let them know, for the last 15 minutes of the interview, I'm going to take your phone. He let them know. I got to look this up because that was a pretty good documentary. But anyway, the point of we're talking about how technology is affecting us even that way. And you said something that was very interesting, like if it makes you mentally lazy, it will also make you physically lazy. So, and I have to be cautious of that as well, because I guess I have to thank my stalkers for that, because I was having food delivered to the house, but they started taking food out of my bags, and they eventually just started stealing the whole order. It was weird. They more than once, dude. It was just, yeah. But anyway, they started, and I was like, maybe I'll go and just start picking my food up. That's what, but it's easy, and the reason why I started doing it, first of all, it was COVID. It was around that time when everything was being delivered. Remember that, right?
Oh yeah.
When DoorDash and all that other stuff, Grubhub, and it all kind of took off then. And then fast forward, I ended up going into the caregiving side of the game, so it was easier for clients to have certain things delivered to their home, especially if they weren't as mobile as some clients. Some clients are more mobile than others, which is great. I actually didn't mind going to the occasional grocery store at the time, but then COVID changed all of that. And so then, people were actually surprised when I was like, where did you get that? I thought I had delivered to the house. They deliver bread to the house? I'm like, yeah, you could get like all types of stuff delivered to the house. It was like people didn't know that you could have like a whole grocery order delivered to your house. And when me and my mom, before me and my mom moved here, I was doing it, in the other state that we lived in. And she said, who's at the door? I said, oh, that's our Sunday dinner. So you would call, certain restaurants were doing, and they kept doing it. Even, what I'm saying? So because it boosted, first of all, it boosted their business. Because certain people who couldn't get to their restaurant now had access to their food, and they didn't have to leave the house.
Oh, they made it so convenient.
Yeah. So that's how that whole thing all started. But then, like I said, they're like, oh, okay, so she's getting coached. She's having her food delivered to her. Let's steal her food. What is the conversation? That's all I'm asking. Like, what sparks in your mind that I think that was a $300 grocery order, and it ended up way on the other side of Ohio. Like it ended up way on the other side of the state. Not nowhere near my house. Like it was way, like Instacart took the food and took it all the way to a whole different county, like 4, 5, 6 counties over. I'm like, yeah, that didn't happen. I was like, what in the hell? And I'm looking at the tracker, because you can track a lot of stuff. I'm looking at the tracker, and I said, this order went to so-and-so city, and I'm not there. Now, prior to that, I had been using these services for years. Never had an incident. Somebody got an order screwed up a couple times, but never had an incident. Not one incident. And then all of a sudden, food started coming up missing. They were taking food out of the bags. They were taking, they were stealing food out of my hot food orders. Before they would get to me, food would come up missing out of the order. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to eat this. I am not going to, this whole order is jacked up a lot of the time. I think most of the time I got my money back. Yeah, I even got the money back for the food, the $300 food order that ended up missing. I even got that back. So the majority of the time I ended up getting my money back, which is unheard of, because usually you don't even get your money back. But I did. I ended up recouping, and apparently somebody was just hungry. So God bless you. I'm glad that I could bless somebody with some food and a meal. But yeah, this whole technology thing, it goes very deep. Cyber stalking, like I had mentioned before, online, and there are ways to be protected. But now, people are onto it, and it's going to cost you hundreds and hundreds of dollars to protect your information, just to protect your identity, your personal information from being stolen, being monitored. Of course, cameras, listening devices. Do you ever think that you've fallen prey to that?
No.
Yeah.
Like it's.
Dude, your family just don't like you. You are not being starved. You you have a toxic family. I don't know. Yeah, that's weird. You said what?
That's all it is. It's just like I said, just basic stuff. Just want to know. People just want to know what you got going on, but it's like I don't have nothing going on but the rent, but they still want to know what you got going on besides the rent. And I'm like, nothing unless you want to pay it.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
And it's been like that for years, you know.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about when you was when it was like, you know, shortage of your food and stuff like that, and you probably got to the point where, like, you know what, I'm just gonna go, like you said, go to the grocery store or go somewhere else, you know, and just go get it yourself. I know that was kind of pissing them off because you would throw them off because, like I said, you once you like break certain patterns, you break their codes. They got like certain codes because, like I said, they got you like they got like a program, and they got a program, and the program is part of your movement.
Right. You definitely, you know, well, like I said, once again, the reason for, you know, doing it for so long is to find out how you move. Yeah, we need to know how you move. We need to know. So I move how I move. I mean, there are certain things that I might, you know, switch up from day to day. But at this point, like I said, it's a cat and mouse game because they know what I'm doing and I know what they're doing. So, I mean, that's weird in itself. But at the same time, it's to find out, oh, well, she's only going to go here. And where I live, there's only so many places you can go. Now, in New York, it's a little bit different, but it's also more dangerous. So had I known, and like I said, I look back now and the way that I was moving in New York, I really was a target. Like, you know, it was any day now. Like, because and people, it's they have this thing, if you see something, say something. But if somebody sees some shit going down in New York, 9 times out of 10, they ain't saying shit unless it's happening to them. So that's how you survive in New York. So, you know, that was just divine. Like I said, the Most High God Creator has his hand on my life because, had I not left New York, there's no telling. She sent a random woman. I'm not from there. I don't know nobody in New York. And random people just started following me around. That's weird, especially when you're not doing anything. But that was the reconnaissance. So we're going to send some people out on Rico. I need to know where this bitch is. I need to know where she lives, where she goes, who she talking to, who she walking down the street with, how does she get back and forth, what path does she take, what bus does she get on, what train does she ride, how she ride it. Like, it's weird, like a whole. And so I started looking back, and I'm like, oh, that's what that was. And I told you about this little greasy white girl that tried to attack me on the street for no one. I mean, I'm watching her when I come around the corner. She already had her eye on me. She had a cigarette in her mouth, and as soon as I come around the corner, she flicked the cigarette out and ran across the street and jumped in front of me. And I'm like, okay, so you think you know me? Bitch, I ain't no celebrity. I know I ain't dressed like the rest of y'all around here, but you want an autograph, nigga? I don't know what's going on. She just she ran and jumped in front of me, and I'm like, what's happening right now? And she's gonna turn around she probably didn't think I was as big as I was in real life. I don't know if they showed her a picture of me or what, but I was like, bitch, you gonna need that umbrella and 4 more white people to whip my ass, because this ain't gonna go like you think it's gonna go. It's really not. So I'm one of those. I'm one of those real unassuming people. Like, okay, so what I wanted to tell you, fast forward. I go and pick up the groceries since, my brother's resources are gone. So I'm moving like I'm moving. We need groceries. So I go online, as I normally do, and I order groceries. Now, usually, and this is at your favorite place. So when I pull up, there's the pickup area, where you pick up the Walmart grocery pickup. And usually I park away from them because I know where they are. I see them, they're there. They know where I'm going. They've already seen me place the order online. They know what time I've reserved the time for pickup. So they already know. I mean, it's the same old story. They already know I'm there. And if they're not following me there, they've got 10, 12 cars already sitting there when I get there. So usually I'll try to park where they leave all of the pickup spots open, and they'll park around the pickup spots. Like, ain't nobody picking up no groceries, but everybody's sitting in the car, and they not in a pickup spot. So that part. So usually I park away from them because they'll get off the car, and they just start, walking over to each other's car and talking to each other. So I pulled up right in the middle of them. I'm like, okay, let me just pull up right here because, first of all, I'm tired. Second of all, the people bringing I got water. I got cases of water, all types of shit. This is ridiculous. So I pull up. All the pickup spots are pretty much empty. There's nobody parked in any pickup spot, but the cars around me all have people in them, and they're just sitting in their car. I'm like, okay. So I took out my phone and I started recording. I'll send you the footage. I took out my phone and I just started recording. And, it's 2 or 3 that they're the normal guys that I see. They're the normal handlers or followers or gang stalkers that I usually see. Dude, you wear a mohawk. How can I not? You a Hispanic dude with a mohawk. Like, how am I not going to know you? Like, this shit was so funny. And and the same dude, black wire rim glasses. There's something about those black wire rim glasses. I think most of them are camera glasses because they all wear them. All of the girls in the car, they all have these black wire rim glasses on. All of them. If not all of them, most of them wear these black rim glasses. And I think they're camera glasses. Yeah. And
then with that, you can also look at their body language. If they walking and looking like they got cameras on their eyes, then they probably do. Especially if they're the same kind of cameras. I mean, same kind of glass from where you described them.
Of course, yeah. Like I said, if not all of them, most of them do. And this particular guy, he got out. He's done this before. I've seen him at Walmart before. He'll get out and he'll just stare at me. Stare at me like to the point where he's sticking his neck out, like staring at me. And I'm like, oh, okay, you've got camera glasses on. Okay, well, you can see what you can see. I don't know what you're looking for. Like, but in one of the descriptions that I read online, they do like to check. They have to report and say, okay, did our tactic work? Does she look like she's getting sleep? Does she look like she's afraid? Is she gaining weight? Is she losing weight? Is she sick? Has she broken out in hives? Does she have acne? Like, how much hair did she lose? Like, is her fingernails growing? Is she biting her nails? Like, I want to see. What do we do? Is our black magic working? Is it working? So I get it. At the end of the day, they'll come in with their phones, and some of them will walk up to me and take my picture, because the person who started the contract in the first one, the person that got the contract out on me. Yeah, they got to report back to Satan. They got to report back to Satan. Right. Yeah, they got to report back. The demons got to report back to the devil. So, when they report back to the devil, he's like, wait a minute, she's supposed to be getting sick. She's looking pretty damn good. Like, what are we doing? What's that? Ain't working. Ain't working. We got to do something else. Yeah, because there was a point where I was very sick. I was very sick. My hair fell out. My face, my skin looked different. My face didn't look the same, and I was stressed out. But I also was going through COVID. I had lost my mother. We left a different state where there was a lot of tension and discourse going on between other family members. So, and then the stalking started there. And then I was just like, that's enough. I'm leaving. And not knowing that, they not only did they follow us here, that is a damn near 8-9 hour drive. And they had someone trail me the whole way. trying to run me off the road along the way, mind you. So yeah, there was a point where I had dropped weight. I had got real thin. I had got real thin. I lost my weight. Weight on me is a good thing. When I get thin, that's not a good thing. So I had lost a lot of weight, and I was looking, really weird and drained, and so there was a lot going on in addition to not even knowing that you could possibly be, there's something going on here. So I had to, in the beginning stages, put two and two together, and something happened. And then I started getting, my spirit guides were speaking to me in ways that I couldn't ignore. There's no way I could have, there is no way on this particular planet in this realm that I could have ignored them. Because the voices were loud. Like, people pray and say, I just want to pray to hear from God or hear from, Jesus, and you believe in Jesus or whatever. But what was happening as I was ascending, into my higher self, it was loud. Now the voices are clear. When I hear a voice from out of nowhere, just to be clear, and I don't know, I'm hearing voices, psycho, mental health kind of things. That's the narrative that they want to paint. Oh, she's crazy. Oh, there's something wrong. And I told you, they sent the people to actually come take me away. Like that particular day, they wanted me to get in the car with them so they could take me and put me somewhere in a room and stick a needle in me. That day. Like the very next day that I called the police, and I was like, yeah, I already spoke to my spirit guides, and my, Most High God Creator said that would be a hell to the no. Hell to the no. Mm-mm. So the voices I don't even know why, but there's like I said, there's a spirit guide that's just a spirit guide. They are my divine protectors. Because without them, I would already be dead. So this ain't my fight. They can blame me all they want to, but they're not fighting me. They're fighting God. Yeah, they're not fighting me at all. Yeah, they're fighting God. So I don't know how you box with God, but good luck. Let me know how that works out for you. Yeah, they're not fighting me. This is not my fight. Because I don't know who I'm fighting no way. You said what?
They think they fighting flesh.
Yeah, they think the fight is with me, so that's what I was getting to. So when the dude got out the car and they were looking at me like they got this look on his face like, yeah, we really want to do something to you. Like, these are grown ass men. I didn't see a woman in sight. These are grown ass male people. And they look like, they really look like they wanted to put their hands on me like, we're gonna be. They got out the car and they started, and I got out the car too, and because that's the first time I'm like, I'm gonna get out the car because this is just ridiculous. What are y'all doing? What are we doing? And the two dudes were speaking in Spanish. I was trying to put my translator on my phone so I could hear what they were talking about. But yeah, I was trying so hard to get you, and I was trying to be, I was trying to put the translator on so I could, hold it up and get the conversation. But the dude walked past me, said something real quick to him in Spanish, and he kept in other words like, fuck her. I don't know what they said. I really don't. But and I'm like, y'all mad about something that you're doing to somebody who has not done anything to you, and let's not forget the fact that I don't know you. But they were mad, and I could see most of the people, like the girl across the street, I'll come outside what are you mad about? What are you mad about? Everybody will just start jumping in cars, and we're like, she's just gonna. I heard her tell one of the handlers one day, she's just gonna sit there. Bitch, I live here. What the fuck? Like, I live here. Why would I not sit here? I live here. So they're mad about what they're doing because I'm not doing what they want me to do while they're doing something to me, and they're mad about it. Yeah, I'm mad because you're watching me watch you. Why are you watching me watch you? Like, what the fuck?
Another reason why they mad because you're not a part of them.
Why would I be? That's just weird. I get it, but at the same time, I don't know what to tell you, because when you find somebody in a situation like that that is so desperate, let's just talk about the fact that you're so desperate for money that you're willing to sacrifice your child.
Yep.
I'm willing to sacrifice my child to do this to somebody I do not know. That is weird.
You willing to sacrifice your grandchild?
Your grandchild, yeah. I don't care. I'm willing to. Yeah, I'll do anything. I don't know her. I don't know what she did. I don't care. She ain't done nothing to me, but I'm in. Like, what?
And look, if you old enough and you still evil enough, your great grandchild.
Yeah. And then
evil don't have an age.
Correct.
Evil don't have an age.
No. Actually, when it started in Georgia, it would have been a great grandmother that was doing it, that started this. That was, well, she didn't start it, but it would have been a great grandmother that was asked to collaborate with the whole thing. And as a matter of fact, the woman that I worked for in Georgia, she agreed to collaborate as well. So they all had. You have to agree. You have to agree to let a demon come inside of you. Fuck that. I rebuke all that shit in the name of the Most High God. I rebuke all that shit. Yeah. They know demons going to use my body. No, absolutely not.
The demonic, invisible contracts for Satan.
Correct. But yeah, I ain't saying I ain't never did no devilish shit in my day, but I'd be goddamn if I lived with a demon. This nigga was walking down the street with a whole demon on his back, and I saw it. I was like, wow. I was like, so that's what it looks like. Yeah, that demon had him in a chokehold. I was like, wow. And I could see it on their face, because the girl that was laughing at my brother being in the emergency room, she was laughing, and I was starting to argue with her, and the Most High God said, you know you're talking to a demon. And I was like, oh, I forgot, yeah. So the Most High God will come to me and tell me, you know, because I'm telling this girl, if I have to come back through here and you laughing, I'm going to choke the shit out of you. I mean, I'm threatening this girl, and the police is standing right there. So she's laughing like, yeah, you're going to go, tonight is the night. She's going to jail. And I was like, oh. And the Most High God came to me and said, you know you're talking to a demon, right? I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot. My bad, God. I forgot. And so the next time I saw her, I was like, do I go this way to the bathroom? And she said, yeah, it's right through there. And then she was looking like, what happened? I thought she was going to go to jail. No, bitch, I am not going to jail for a demon. Fuck you. Yeah, I am not. That's what I'm not finna do. Because like I said, they do call the police on me at random. Of course, it's a false report. But, you know, and, you know, I'll look up, and next thing you know, the police is following me for no reason. Like, yeah. So that has actually happened. But yeah, I saw it because I'm, you know, when you get caught up in emotion, because that's what they have to get you caught up in emotion, and then throw a monkey wrench in it, and then say, okay, so now this is what we're going to do, and let's push. And I'll tell you why, because the girl was at the emergency window. That's where you were working when I came in. You were at the emergency window. So conveniently, they sent her with one of those roller register carts and had her come to the room right next door to where I was, because they wanted her to keep irritating me. Conveniently now, she's at the front register. She's at the front window, little front plexiglass window when you come into emergency. That's where she was working. Now, they could have changed shifts. I get it. But you just so happened to come, and she parked right in front of my brother's room door where I could see her. And she went into the room right next door to me where the other two stalkers were, because I saw them when they came in. But yeah, so and they sent these two people to act like they were the new crew coming on for the night, and I believe also it was the dude with the tattoos on his arm that I saw in Kentucky. It could be a different dude, but he had tattoos too. And they're out there, and so once they got through, you know, trying to beat me up with a weapon while my brother was sitting with tubes and IVs in him. I mean, they did all this shit for nothing. They actually put an IV in my brother for nothing. So I'm there, I'm watching like, y'all really gonna run with this, right? Y'all really gonna just play this all out? And it played out, and the girl and the guy, they made sure I saw them. They also just happened to come over by my brother's door so I could see them. So they could see, are we doing what? Are we having an effect on her, or what's going on? And when they saw it wasn't having an effect, they did what they had to do. And I never saw them again. I was in and out of that room all that night. I saw them just that particular peak that they came to stand in front of my door and talk, and just so I could see them. And then they left, and they were nowhere on the floor. So what lengths will you go? What lengths will you go to? In order to make this stop? What is the contract? Like, what is the end game? My spiritual sisters have given me some ideas, and so far they have been correct. About, my family member, they were absolutely correct. About the area that this came up out of, they were correct. So I'm getting that information. So that's why I was asking you, like, it just sounds like you have a toxic family like mine. I think that's pretty much, I mean, unless you have multi-million dollars and they got a life insurance policy out on you, I believe somebody has one out on me too. So I definitely believe that. Huh?
No, these broke fools ain't got nothing like that.
I believe,
it's just basic small town ignorance, nosiness,
Mm-hmm.
But so like you live in New York, so you living in pretty much in a bigger city, so it's more expanded on your end. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well,
because,
the funny part about it, though, the reason the I'm gonna say my why of why this would even start is because the person that set this ball in motion is a mentally diminished, narcissistic sociopath. Yeah. And I'm not even joking with that. Yeah. And the only reason why I say that is because there's evidence of people that told me this when I didn't even know her. I didn't know before I even knew who she was. They said this is what she does. She's done XYZ to other people who used to work here, and she's done XYZ to family members before. They believe that this woman's got bodies. That she's got bodies.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. That type of. So she's a real. She was, I guess the devil would be past the demon. This bitch ain't real. Not at all. And and for someone to sign or even agree, that's not good for them. Yeah, that's not good for them. Yeah, you sign a contract with the devil. Yeah. You know how that movie ends.
Yeah.
You know how that story ends already. So I was like, yeah, this was never my fight. Yeah, I don't have a gun to kill the devil. Like I got a gun to kill humans. You can't shoot the devil with a gun. Like you need the Most High God. But yeah, so
is that what you want? Is that what you want?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Correct. Yeah. And it's not even going to be it's not even going to be just death with the people that's involved, including my family members, unfortunately. Yeah, unfortunately. The sister that died suddenly, she just got caught up in something that she did not know. She didn't understand. And they, of course, they're not going to tell her. They're just going to ride the wave and be like, yeah, your sister, there's something wrong with your little sister. She's weird. What's wrong with her? You know. And of course, my sister jumped right on the bandwagon, unfortunately. But now she, on the other side, she's saying, don't worry, sis. We can see it. We see it. We see it. I'm sorry I didn't see it when I was there, but I see very clear now. Ain't nothing wrong with my sight or my hearing. She's perfect. she let me know, yeah, I'm perfect. I see. I didn't believe you, but I see what's going on. I'm sorry I didn't believe you, but now we see. And so I'm, like I said, my spirit guides, they like I said, if people that used to tell stories about, I heard something tell me so and so and such and such, and you always that skeptic when you listen to people, you're like, I don't know, but I'm glad, you did the right thing, you made the right decision, and da 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 ta-da, you on the other side of it, and I get it. So I was very skeptical, but when I started hearing like loud, like, bitch, don't go in there. Do not. Yeah, and that's how my spirit guys talk to me, because God's not going to talk to me the way he talked to you. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
He going to talk to you like he knows Fred. He knows you. And he going to talk to you like he knows you. Hey, Fred, remember I told you so and so and such and such? Yeah. I'm not going to get your conversation and you're not going to get mine. But you definitely going to hear it. When it's time to really, really hear it, if the Most High God Creator is not done with you, you are going to get that voice. It's a perfect way to end this show. The God Rashad and myself will be talking about the gender for black men and black women on Sunday. And one of the things that I will mention in that show is knowing yourself better than the devil. That is a hard thing to do nowadays with all the social media and the podcasts and the TikToks and OnlyFans, and it's a lot. It's a lot to consider. Yeah, it's a lot. And, how do you get to know yourself? And you mentioned something very interesting in the last show. I was actually listening to the last show that we did prior to coming on and me and you doing this show, and you were talking about, being in solitude and getting in solitude and being by yourself and finding that space of safety. I don't know if you remember saying that, but you need to go back and listen to the show that you and I did the last Thursday. Was the last Thursday show? Yeah. Thursday.
Well, I said we could do another hour. You like, no, let's do nothing. We can't do that. I said, no, let's do it.
Well, what I do, because this is Blog Talk, you can set up a show for a couple of hours, and we can definitely do that. I do right now. My max show is like an hour and a half, and and Rashad says the same thing. He was like, we can't get. We do Bobby Hemmett shows now. We be trying to do 2 and 3, and we be doing 3 and 4 and 5-hour shows. I said we'll be on this line all night, knowing me and him, because he and I talk till like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. So we get it because when you have that taste and that thirst for knowledge, when you have that hunger for a better understanding, and when you want to be better in your life, you know what I'm saying? Outside of, jealousy and envy, and I got to get that money, and I don't care how I get it, and I'll sacrifice what I have to sacrifice to harm someone just to be able to pay my bills. That's weird. I kind of get it, but it's also weird, and it's sad. It's very sad that you have to put yourself in that place. But if you just try to look at the person in the mirror and try to understand the Most High God in your life, whatever you call that. If it's Jesus, cool. I ain't got no problems with it. If it's Allah, Buddha, whatever it is for you. Or maybe it's just a deeper understanding and a breath of fresh air and some motherfucking peace in your life just for a minute. Try that. and try to hear what your higher self has to say to you. If it's saying, let's stalk some people and try to take them out so you can get a couple $100, it might not be God. I'm just saying. that might not be God talking to you right there. That might be something else. It might be gremlins. You said what?
Listen, for that small amount, you better get big.
You know, and the only reason I say a couple $100 is because you can't be making any money and still live on the same raggedy street I live on. Because if it was a couple of thousand or a couple of millions, you know, that's a different look. Like, I always tell people, why would you rob a bank and then go back home? You just risked your life for nothing. But if you could rob a bank and get a small island somewhere where you could stay out of sight for about a decade at least, then you did something. You understand what I'm saying? Why would you go to the corner store and rob them for $55 and spend 25 years in jail for armed robbery? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? You gonna shoot somebody and then run to your grandmama's house, like on the other side of town? Like, why? Why would you do that? Yeah. So if you're not risking your life for a trip to San Tropez to hide out for a good 15, 20 years, at least enough time to enjoy it, then what's the risk? What are you risking? You'll sacrifice your life, your child, loved ones, relatives, for real? For nothing? For nothing.
For nothing.
Wow. For nothing. And that is our show for tonight, Brother Fred. I'm giving you a speech, brother. And for a couple of reasons. One, you know, you take the time and the opportunity and the risk, and I always want to thank you. I know I do it all the time, but I don't want to ever forget and thank you. Like I said, you know, you might say to yourself, how does she know I'm not the enemy? Even if you are, I know how to talk to my enemies. I do. It's still empathy. It's still a certain level of compassion, because I know there are certain people out there that really don't want to be your enemy. They don't. They want you to be someone who can relate to them. You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
I'm not calling you an enemy. I'm just saying, you know. But what I'm thanking you for is just taking that risk, that time. This is time out of your night. I know you know, I'm just guessing, but, you know, you probably just got off work and you may or may not have children or haven't dug into that side of your life or whatever going on in your life. You could be a whole lot of other places, but you're with me here in the KROWN on a Thursday night. And I'm liking it. And like I said, this isn't just for me. Even though a lot of the experiences are about me, it's not just for me. I have my niece and other people posting this particular segment that we do to their social media, because there's somebody out there, even if it's just that one person, that say, you know what, I thought it was just me. Because I really did. For a couple of years, I was like, I can't be the only one going through. I can't be the only one this is happening to. Like, really? And come to find out, I'm not. That's weird. So I am being obedient to the Most High God because I don't have a choice. If I had a choice, my choice would be to get on with my life and live my life the way I need to live my life. But the Most High God said, I'm going to put it in the face of your enemy so that they know it's nobody but me. This ain't your fight. That's very deep. That's very deep. So if there were ever, I've always known that, you know, God has a special place in his heart for me. And I know I've had a special place in my heart for a God that knew me. Not the God that you get at your grandmama's church, and not the God that they preach about on TV, and not the God that you might, you know, have somebody tell you, God told me to tell you. And I told Rashad the other day, if you ever hear anybody, Brother Fred, come up to you and say, God told me to tell you, run, nigga, run. Do not entertain that person. Don't even talk to them. Yeah, nobody can tell you who God is to you.
Because if he really wanted me to know, he would tell me myself.
He'd have been done to you. Oh, yeah. He'd been done to you. And he does. He tells you. Some people listen closer than others. Some people want to know. And then, like I said, there's people like me that God's got to put you in a situation where I'm going to make it clear to everybody that it's God. It's not you. It's not Durdonna. It's not Dee. It's me. Yeah, I'm going to be knocking at their door. I'm going to be throwing the first punch. I'm going to be doing the same shit that they want for you. I'm going to give it to them.
He's going to use your vessel for it. He's going to use your vessel to do it.
There ain't nothing I can do about it.
Nope.
And
right.
I can't, even if I wanted to, right? Like even if I wanted to do something about it, I couldn't, right? So yeah, but a lot of people. It's funny. I've listened to a couple of podcasts over the last couple of days and over the weekend, and it was individuals that had come through hell. Like it's a lot. I'm gonna text a couple of them to you because they were real interesting. Like one chick that was in prostitution, so her father sold her into prostitution when she was 10, and I'm like, God damn, what kind of daddy? Like whose father would do that? Like, and she tells the podcast is called Can We Talk, and it's a dude in church, and he's talking to people who went from going through literal. I mean. This girl was in prostitution. She got shot up and drugged and sold around and passed around since she was 14. She started stripping when she was 14 years old. Like, I'm sorry, what? Like, I mean, these are people that have gone through literal hell. It's dudes that, pastors that came through drug dealing and drug using and pimping women out for their drug problems, and they tell their stories. They're interesting stories. But the 14-year-old that turned stripper, she got locked in the basement, she said, by a demon. He took her home with him, and she thought they were just going to have sex and she was going to leave. She ended up locked in his basement, I think she said, for like a month or so. And somebody, a complete stranger, walked in the house and set her free. You got to hear the stories because I'll be sitting there like, that didn't happen. That did not happen. Like, are you serious for real? Like, yeah, these are the story. And I'm listening to them like, yeah, God, I guess if they can do that, I can do this. Because he's telling me, I'm going to tell you what you need to do. And I need you to be obedient and do what I tell you to do because it's going to be, and as long as I'm feeling the love in it, because there is no love. There is no love. When God puts his hand on your life, it's nothing like it. It is nothing like it. I promise you on this planet. So thank you, Brother Fred. I appreciate you rocking with me. And we'll be back on Saturday. Saturday, I am going into the agenda on Black men and Black women. And it's not a relationship show. We're going to be talking about Black men and Black women, but it's not a relationship show, people, because I know people get so tired of relationship-type shows. But we're going to do those too another time, another show. But Saturday, I'm going to be talking about the agenda. Is that the show that I'm doing Saturday? I think I might be getting them mixed up. But no, Serious Sex with the Goddess. I'll be talking about your spiritual sexuality is on sale. How about that? That's what I'll be talking about. Saturday night in Serious Sex with the Goddess. Is your spiritual sexuality on sale? And we're going to be talking about that. Brother the God Rashad and I will be on Sunday night. Sunday night is going to be the agenda on Black men and Black women. And thank you, Brother Fred, for rocking with me tonight. Say good night to the people.
Good night, everybody. Thank you for listening.
All right. Thank you, Brother Fred. I'll catch up with you again. Chime in to either one of those shows this weekend if you can. We'd love to have you.
All right.
All right. Good night.
Don't be surprised when I show up.
Hey, I'm never surprised when you show up. Only happy, baby. Just happy. Yep. So you do. All right. Thank you for rocking with me in the Crown tonight. I am Durdonna Raffia. You've been listening to Crown Knowledge Radio, Hidden in Dark Corners. We will see you on Saturday night. Good night, everybody.
Democrats are working tirelessly to keep our healthcare options accessible and affordable. Access to healthcare should be within everyone's reach. Democrats fought Big Pharma to cap insulin at $35 and made it possible for Medicare to negotiate drug prices. Meanwhile, extreme Republicans want to restrict our access to life-saving medication. It's about protecting our freedoms and respecting our choices. Trust Democrats to uphold our access to safe and affordable healthcare. Paid for by DCCC, dccc.org. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. DCCC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
¿Qué tan poderoso es Cox Internet?
¿Tan poderoso para ver deportes en vivo, realmente en vivo?
Sí.
¿Tan poderoso para compartir mi pantalla con menos retrasos?
Cuenta con eso.
¿Tan poderoso para jugar online sin poner en juego mi récord?
Claro que sí. Obtén velocidades gig con el poder de fibra de Cox, el proveedor de Internet más rápido del país. Internet provisto a través de la red híbrida de fibra coaxial de Cox. Las velocidades varían y no están garantizadas. Aplican los términos de Cox y otras restricciones. Basado en las velocidades de descarga promedio de las pruebas de velocidad de highspeedinternet.com en 2023.